let's get started. For the recording, welcome to WordPress Grand Rapids. We're going to talk about getting started with WordPress. My excellent wife made up this itinerary, which I'm going to follow fairly closely, but we're welcome to talk about anything else you might have questions about. The first thing we have on the docket is the difference between WordPress.com and the WordPress.org. Does anybody not know the difference? Did you raise your hand? All right, great.
No, I didn't. I know the difference.
Oh, you know the difference. All right. So if everybody knows, I'm probably just going to skip this one because then we can do other stuff. So the next one is choosing a host. And that can be a tricky thing. I've pulled up tabs for a whole bunch of different ones here. SiteGround is based in Bulgaria, but they have server farms all over the world. I like them very much because they're cheap and easy. You can get a startup for $3.95 a month. I don't actually recommend you run your site on that for a very long time because it'll get overrun by traffic quite quickly. But it is a very low barrier to entry to get started. You can spin up a website, well, like it says, for $4. And it's great for experimenting. They also let you run as many sites as you want on here. That's what I use it for, mostly. So I do a lot of testing. I can just go...
You need the middle plan in order to have more than one website.
Yeah, unlimited websites. So I'll go spin up a website, install a plugin, see if I like it, and then erase the whole thing. And that works great. Next on the list is Pantheon. Pantheon is a powerhouse. They're not cheap. They are very friendly to software engineers, people who know what they're doing. They are so awesome at process and all that stuff that I quit hosting there because I'm a hack and it annoyed me. They're great. I love them. Flywheel. Flywheel was intended to be for artsy people. They wanted big red buttons to make things easy. And they did a great job of it. They recently were acquired by WP Engine and their prices went way up and people got really angry. That said, the same people are running it that were running it before and they're still doing a good job. Mm-hmm. They released a product called Local, which is a way to run a WordPress website right on your own laptop, just to experiment with. You wouldn't have other people look at it. And it's very tightly tied to their hosting. So if you host there, you can say, download my entire website to my laptop and let me look at it there. And then you can try your plugins, you can melt the whole thing down and download a new copy, whatever you want. And optionally push it back. So if you download it, make some posts, you can just say, put that up to my website. It's pretty slick. I like it. WP Engine, as I said, bought Flywheel. They've been around for a while. They're pretty large. I would say they're mid-market. They're probably higher than a personal blog. Great for a small store. I don't know that I would put enterprise on there. Like Meyer wouldn't host there. Convesio. This is one I recently found out about. They've been around for a couple of years. Their thing they do better than other people is being extraordinarily flexible with wildly changing traffic patterns. So if you've got a blog and you're plugging along with a certain number of people and suddenly you are on the Today Show and 100 million people come visit your website, they wouldn't blink. It can expand suddenly. And then when it's done and you're off the Today Show, it shrinks right back down to what you had before. And so you're only paying for a very large server for that 48 hours you're on the Today Show. Very nice people. I met them at WordCamp US in October. I like them as well. InMotion Hosting. Nicole works for a company that is owned by a company that owns InMotion.
Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know a ton about them. They've been around for a long time.
Yeah. 2001, I think, actually.
What's that?
2001, possibly.
Yeah. One more option. Yeah.
I've worked with sites. One of the first sites I worked on was an e-commerce site. Then we used InMotion hosting. The support was absolutely fantastic. We were
Cool.
absolute newbies out there, and I could say, how do I configure this plugin? And this CSR, I gave him high marks. He sat on the phone for an hour trying to figure out why I could not get a configuration to go.
Nice.
3 days later, I did the same thing. And they still
monster.
went right through. We were all newbies at the time. This was about 2009, 2010 when I was first finding out about WordPress. So InMotion hosting, very good. Also on the more techie side, if you use a thing called FileZilla, FileZilla is used so that you can load files on the back end, PHP files, plugins quickly. Their updates for FileZilla says sponsored by InMotion Hosting.
Oh, nice.
So their footprint is well, but more on the back end side of things.
We are
the
not
front end side of
like
things.
support. Yeah, our support people are really hard.
Yeah,
It's all US based.
Yeah, all US,
Cool.
as you said.
All right, A2 Hosting is in Ann Arbor, as I said, but they're surprisingly international. I was quite surprised to learn they have a London office and a Berlin office, and I think they have an office in Asia. Their shtick is speed. They put a lot of R&D into making their servers ridiculously fast. A friend of mine who used to be one of the engineers there was working at putting the entire web stack into RAM instead of running it on a hard drive so that it would be blazing fast. It didn't pan out. So they're cool. I like them too. Yes.
You were excited about the other one because it got you online for $4 a month, but so does this one.
So does this one.
They have really, that's what I noticed. They have really cheap pricing right now, just FYI.
Yeah.
Really cheap.
So the reason I'm on SiteGround instead of this one, even though the prices are similar, is that I found SiteGround first. And I'm too lazy to move.
This is the lowest I've seen it in a while. So
Yeah.
take advantage, yeah.
There's one more I forgot to mention. Pagely. I doubt anyone here will host here. Their hosting starts somewhere in the $5,000 a month range.
They are definitely geared for enterprise.
They are hardcore enterprise.
And they're okay with that. They don't even try to pretend
Yeah.
that they're not.
They used to have lower plans for normal people and said, you know what? For people paying us $5,000 a month, we don't need to mess with Dan's blog. They are wonderful people, though. So someday you're working at Meyer and they say, you know what? We hate our web host. Let's find a new one. Pagely is a good place to go. I don't want that anymore.
Yeah, I can't connect to the interweb, so I can't help you find it.
Oh, it was
Go on 401 Hall.
yeah, 401 Hall. There's no password.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Well, they didn't change, but the other one's broken.
It just seems this is working. So I'm
Yeah.
asking a question.
So I just showed you a whole bunch of hosts with a variety of prices and skills. And the reason I did that is to point out that there's a wide variety of options. All of them are good, but each one of them has its own little thing that they're really good at. A2 is awesome at super speed. Pantheon is awesome at process and control and software. Flywheel's really pretty and easy to use, stuff like that. So you should look at each of them and find the one that's right for you. Please don't go for the cheapest. Even if you go for a host that has a cheap plan, don't go for the cheapest plan because you definitely get what you pay for. I mentioned with SiteGround with the $4 a month one. If you don't really have traffic, that'll probably run fine. But if you don't have traffic, then why are you bothering? So get something like one up from the bottom if you go for a cheaper host, and you'll be much, much happier. That said, the cheap one is a wonderful way to get your feet wet, to just get in cheap, mess around, build something, and then all of them make it easy to upgrade the plans. And so you start with the simple one. You build your website. You like it. You say, okay, now I'm going to start marketing. I'm going to get some traffic. Let's move up a plan. So that's what I have to say about hosting. Any questions so far? All right. Awesome. Installing WordPress. So it used to be that you had to install WordPress yourself. And it has what it's called the famous 5-minute install. Because if you do 90% of the work first, the last 10% only takes 5 minutes. It really annoys me. But every single one of these hosts that I showed you will install WordPress for you. So, or make it really easy with a big button. So I don't recommend, like if you go to WordPress.org and go to the install section, it'll give you a lot of instructions about creating databases and copying files with FTP and all that stuff. I don't recommend that anymore. Find the documentation or call support and say, hi, I'm brand new, I need a WordPress site. They will walk you through it, and at the end, you'll have your site. Strongly recommend you go that route. Choosing a theme and installing a theme. So I'm going to go here to WordPress.org. There's a section here called Themes. And, wow, there's only one featured theme.
Hey, Chopper, can you explain to me what a theme is?
No.
Figure it out.
So in WordPress, a theme is a set of files, template files, that dictate how your content is presented on the web page. And a lot of it is art and design, but a fair amount of it is also what content goes where. So your theme will help dictate whether or not you have a sidebar and what's in it. Maybe it's your categories, maybe it's a widget to show when your next meetup is. But another theme might not have a sidebar. Maybe it puts them all in the footer or puts them all at the top. So the themes are all about layout and controlling presentation. Here's popular. The most popular one here is called 2020, and then there's 2019 and 2017, etc. All of the 20 themes are created by, I don't know if it's automatic or if it's the foundation.
That's a very good question. I don't remember.
But the WordPress people. It's made by the WordPress people.
It's the official theme release for the year.
Yes. So,
It's with every new install of WordPress.
yep. So when you install WordPress, you're going to get 2020. And you probably will get 2019 and 2017 as well. They are guaranteed to work, and they are guaranteed to be up to date, because that's just how they work. But then you go down, and you'll see that there are many, many, many themes. Yes, sir.
Also, for folks that are so confused that they say, well, what does a theme really do? The top three right there is just saying you can put a post on your blog that says, hi, I am John Smith. This is what I do. Those are the different layouts that it's going to do for you.
Yeah.
So you'll have different pictures, you'll have different places that the heading that says, hi, I am John Smith. And then all your data, and then all of your text underneath. So that was real fun when we were first learning what themes were about 10 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
what are these? Why does it look so funny when I switch from one to the other? Because it's simply just a layout of what a theme is.
All themes on .org have a preview button, and the content contains every type of content that a WordPress site can hold. And so there are all the headings, there's paragraph text, there's a horizontal rule. This is what list types look like, definition lists, unordered lists. Here's a form with all of the kinds of form elements, a table, all that stuff. What is this? Oh, just goes to the next theme. Okay, cool. So that'll give you some idea of what's going on. Right here's a feature filter, which is very, very old. I'm surprised they haven't updated this in 15 years. The layout and features are the most reliable. Subject is very subjective. Like, what makes a blog food and drink? Who knows? Yeah. But if you know you want a sidebar, you know you want a right sidebar, then just check this, and you will only see them that have right sidebars and stuff like that. Now, right here is a link to commercial themes. These are not themes. These are links to companies who make themes. I'm only familiar with maybe 15% of these. But the advantage of a commercial theme, you buy it. The advantage of a commercial theme is that they come with support. Different companies have different quality of support. I know some that I like. Most of these I don't even know. Something that's important to know, this GPL right here stands for General Public License. All software related to WordPress is under the General Public License, and what that says is that the software is owned at the very same time by everyone and no one, which means that you have equal rights to that software along with every single other person in the whole world. You can take it, you can change it, you can sell it, you can do anything you want with it. So when you give money to one of these companies, you're not buying software, you're buying support. The same holds true for anything you buy related to WordPress. If you buy a plugin, you buy any piece of software that goes in WordPress, what you're buying is support. But what that also means then is most of them charge by the year. You buy a year's support, and they want you to renew every year to keep getting new additions and new support. But you don't have to. If you stop paying, you can continue to use that software forever. You can't call them and ask for support.
Is the theme still updated? Do they let you know when there's updates?
No, they stopped doing updates. With themes, that's a little less important. Themes don't change very often. Plugins often change pretty regularly, every couple weeks. So getting support, paying support for a plugin is usually worth it.
Is it a good rule of thumb that if they haven't changed something in the plugin in a while, you might want to start moving away or something?
That depends. That's something you have to figure out. If they aren't doing updates because the company folded, then maybe you want to think about using some other theme. If they aren't doing updates because it was well written in the first place and they don't need to make changes, then keep using it.
That never happens though.
Oh, with themes, actually, it does happen quite a lot. A number of my plugins, I have plugins on WordPress.org that I haven't updated in 4 or 5 years because there have been no security issues and they continue to work doing what they were supposed to do. So,
There is that tested up to version of WordPress, so.
yes, that's true.
Because like we'll test our stuff sometimes with the newer versions, and even if there's not like really code changes, you push out a release saying it's compatible with the new version. Because sometimes you'll get like when you try to install something, it'll say like this hasn't been tested with your version of WordPress or whatever.
Yeah. It doesn't say it right on here. Something cool about themes from WordPress.org is you see right here where it says Translate 2020. Built into WordPress.org is an entire translation system. And anyone who wants to, anyone who can just make a free account can go in and translate the text in the theme. Like not your blog text, but like headers that say categories or whatever. And with the more popular themes like 2020, that actually happens a lot. For example, it's 100% up to date on Tibetan. Wow, I'm really impressed. And you start falling apart once you get down here with Indonesian, and although that is that's stable. However, these are waiting to be updated. The same holds true for plugins. Any plugin or theme on .org can be translated by anyone who speaks any language in the world. If you want it translated, like if there's a theme you love and it's not in whatever language you need it, you can pay somebody to create a free account, log in, do all the translations, and your theme will get a little update next time you log into WordPress. There are always questions about how do you choose, and it's an impossible question to answer because it's a combination of style. Do you like it? There's the psychology of design. Does it convey the meanings that you need to convey? But then there's also the whole quality of code, and how much does quality of code matter? If it's secure, does it matter if they use indents or not? So it's really, really hard to tell. If you go to a single page for a theme like this, you can look at ratings, and also, is there a support tab here? Yeah, right here. Every theme and plugin has a support forum associated with it. So you can go into the forum and look at what kinds of questions are being asked and how long it takes questions to be answered. That can be really useful. So if you get a theme with a lot of the same questions over and over again from a variety of people without answers, probably a good time to move on. However, let's see. This one was started one day 2 hours ago and has a green check, which means it's closed, solved. There's a solved one. A lot of these are not solved. So going through the support form can help you understand a lot about a theme and about what kind of support comes with it. This is free support. And so by the same token, it is free support. Just because you release a theme does not obligate you to support it. So you might find one with no support at all. And if you love the theme and you don't need support, great, download it. But if you must have support, maybe you should move on. We're going to look at installing a theme next. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to do that now because, where do I want to do that? I know. I'm going to use local. Remember I told you Flywheel has that build a site on your own machine thing? I have one called Chaplain. Start site. There. Now that's how long it took to start up that site. Is it going to give me? Yes, it gave me this one. So this is a theme called Chaplain that a friend had me make a child theme for. We can talk about child themes here in a minute. So this WordPress site we're looking at right here is actually running on this laptop. It's not out on the internet. If you go to Appearance and Themes, what we're looking at here is pulling from WordPress.org. It's the same. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is the installed ones. If you go to Add New, this is pulling from .org. And it has the same Popular tab and Latest tab. This is a cool thing. The favorites, if you log into .org and are looking at a theme, you can, I probably can't do it right now because I'm not logged in. There's a little star and you can click it to favorite it. And then in your website, you can search for favorites. Oh, I did it for Make. And it will show you just the ones you like. So I'm going to install. And activate. And that's how easy it is to install a theme. Go look at the front of my website. And this theme's pretty boring out of the box. But my point here is that it is super easy to install a theme. Try it. If you don't like it, delete it. Or deactivate it. I don't think you can deactivate a theme. You have to activate another one. So,
Deactivate the active theme.
right. So there we go.
But you can if you go into your files and rename the
Break
folder.
it. That's true. You can break your site that way.
I haven't
you
done
should
that.
always- You should always have one of the core release themes in there for like backup.
Yes, that's a good point. You shouldn't have themes that you're not using because they could be a security problem. But you should always have one backup so that if yours chokes, you can install another one and log in and fix things. I want to talk briefly about child themes. You'll probably run into this if you buy a theme. So this theme right here is called Chaplain, and this one is a child of Chaplain. The parent theme is full of template files, lots and lots and lots of code. The child theme has almost nothing. I think there are only 2 files required, and they simply refer to the parent. And the reason we make child themes is that you can copy single templates from the parent into the child and change them to do whatever you want. And then when you do an update, like if there's a new version of Chaplain, you can update Chaplain and it won't overwrite your cool stuff. Because if you change the parent one and they release an update and you click update, it's going to overwrite everything you did. But if your changes are in the child, then it never touches your stuff.
You would still need to compare the changes in what was released to what you have, because if they made like massive changes that would mess with what you did, you're going to have to compare them.
That's true. Let's see. Nope, it's not in here. Most themes have a change log, and it will tell you what they changed with each release. So you read through it and you say, oh, they changed that template that I copied. I need to make sure that my old one doesn't have a security flaw that they fixed in the new one, and that sort of thing.
Check is your friend for that.
Yes. Many commercial themes, when you buy it, you'll get both a parent and a child. Mm-hmm. And you should install them. Well, the parent doesn't get activated. It just sits there. Mm-hmm. So if you install the child, it will, if the parent's on .org, it'll install it for you, which is pretty cool. But you upload them both and then activate the child. And their support will know how to deal with that. So if you ever call them, they're going to say, do you have a child theme? You say, yes, I do. Okay, go to this file, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's what I have to say about installing themes. Any questions yet? All right. If you're just starting out, I highly recommend installing tons of themes. Try them out, see what you think. They're all built differently. The backends are different. Some of them will add a lot of features and stuff over here. Something that is not on the list to talk about is the customizer, and I'm going to do it right now. So, yeah.
Nice work.
So every WordPress site has something called the customizer. And if you're logged in and on the homepage, there's a link right here at the top called Customize. And what you will find in here differs from theme to theme. All of them have 1 or 2 that are the same. For example, site identity always exists. And in here, you can change your site title. And it's really cool. You got to watch while I do it because it's going to happen on the fly. You see up here where it says Chaplain? If I change this to my cool website, boop, it's done. So the customizer allows you to make changes on the fly. Now this isn't live yet. The world is not seeing this until you hit publish. Optionally, there's a little gear here. You can say publish tomorrow. And you'll note that this one doesn't have a ton of them. There are these little pencils. You can click and it will zap you to the right spot in here. So I'm going to say I don't want this tagline. Oh, that was both of them. I do want them both. So colors, background color, accent color. Let's change our background to that. Color schemes. Ooh, that's cool. So this is something fairly unique to this theme. I haven't seen color schemes in too many themes. Fonts. We who
Color palettes, the bold grid themes all have color palettes.
bold grid themes have color palettes. You can enter a font name. You can choose the weights. You can choose languages, all that kind of stuff. You can get plugins that will extend the fonts tab to include all the Google fonts, so you can just choose off a list. You can say, I only want low resolution images, apparently, and have fallback images. Oh, nice. So right now the header goes away, but if I click sticky header,
Well, bam.
it sticks there. I can disable that search button, and it's gone. I can disable menu modal on desktop. Oh, okay. So it just renders the whole menu, whereas otherwise it does this sort of thing.
This is a cool website.
It is pretty good. It's called Chaplin, is the theme. Posts. So you can decide what kind of information appears on a single post, if you want the post date or not, if you want categories or not, or the author or not. And then on the archive, which is where we're looking now, you can excuse me, you can decide how many columns you want. Aspect ratio. Okay, so right now we're seeing the date and the title. You could also say author by Topher DeRoja. So I'm not going to go through too much more, but you can see there's a ton of stuff here. Something that's particularly cool, I use all the time. If you are a web developer, you'll appreciate this. It's called Additional CSS.
That's brought in by Jetpack, isn't it?
Nope, this is stock WordPress now.
Is it? Okay.
So you can type in some cascading style sheet code here, and it will affect your website. It's saved in the database relative to this theme. So if you write some CSS here to affect this theme and then change themes, and then come back to this panel, you won't see it anymore. But you come back to your theme, it'll be there again. If you're not a web developer, you probably never do this. Even if you're not a web developer, someday you're going to go, I wish I could change the way that thing goes. And you're going to post on a forum and somebody's going to say, here's some CSS. Mm-hmm. That's where you put it.
Like if you want all your links underlined.
Yes. In fact, here, let's do it. Nope, just regular. Boy, it's been a long time. Is it text decoration? Underline. Ooh,
Underline. Nice.
underline. That would be cool. I did something wrong. This is a really tiny font on this monitor. So why don't I have underlines? I wonder if I
Do you
have
need
to.
important?
I hope not.
There it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's evil. You should never do important.
Sometimes you just have to do
Uh,
put in the important thing.
I don't.
It's very common to have to do important in this part of
Yeah.
WordPress.
So that's the customizer. Every WordPress site will have one, but the themes dictate heavily what you'll find in here. Some of them have only just a few tabs, and it doesn't use them much. Some of them get very complicated. And, well, for example, under menus here, all pages, let's see, add items. So now there's a flyout, and I think you can get another flyout. So it can get pretty complicated. But using this, you can build your entire menu system. You saw what was under that little menu link. That's this stuff right here. And you can drag it around. Oop, let's see, I'm going to put front page down here. Hit publish, and it'll happen. So I made all these changes. If I don't want them, I hit the X, and it's just like it never happened. So when you're trying a theme, remember to look in the customizer, because even if it looks really plain out of the box, There may be a ton of things you can do. Here, make. That looks really boring, but make leverages the customizer heavily, and you can make this look like just about anything. All right, any questions so far? Wow, either I'm rocking or it's really terrible.
No, you're doing good, Bob.
So where to go for help? It depends on what you're working with. If you have a plugin or theme from WordPress.org, you want to use the support tab. That is .com. There we go. So in themes, there's a button. If we go over here to plugins, we'll talk about plugins here in a sec. Right at the top, there's a support tab. Both themes and plugins have a reviews tab. That's a good place to go to look to see if they're good or bad. No reviews often means it's perfectly fine. It's when you get 10 bad reviews that you need to start looking around. So you click on support, and wow, this says nothing. You must be logged in, but it's a free account. Support is often very good, but the authors are not obligated. So you might get a theme or plugin that just is not supported. Under the support tab here at the top, there's both documentation and forums. The documentation is good. I wrote about half the plugin handbook on here. But then under forums, these are all similar to what you saw under an individual theme or plugin. They're actually the same group of forums, but they're topical. So if you're having trouble installing WordPress, you can come in here. Fixing WordPress, developing WordPress, requests and feedback, everything else. This is a good place. If you bought your theme or plugin, you should leverage the support that comes with it. And they're usually pretty good. Occasionally you'll get some kid who released his first plugin for sale and never realized that 400 people were going to call him at 2 a.m. and support will be bad. But if you buy like from a shop or something, here, let's look at Gravity Forms. They're one of the biggest. They make a Forms plugin. It costs $59. I think they have like 60 employees now. Yeah, they're on the ball. It's a company. When you call, you're going to get support, and it's good. Where else to get help? Let me show you this. Boop. This app is called Slack, this black one here. In fact, I will just make this big. Slack is a chat tool. We have a Slack channel for this meetup. It is right here. And here we are talking about WordCamp. You're welcome to join it. A lot of us hang out there all the time. Just ask questions whenever you want. We're happy to help you. This other one over here is called make.wordpress.org. It's not technically for support, but this is where all the people who make WordPress hang out. I hang out there. There's 35,000 people on this Slack channel. You can find some help there. I would recommend first joining our Slack channel. If you go to wpgr.org, there's a form on the side. You just put in your email address, and it will sign you right up and help you download this app. So your local meetup is a great place to get help. That's us. Come to our meetings. Use Slack. We used to have an email channel, but Slack's a lot easier. I was going to say something else. What was it? You must know. Where else to get help? I can't think of anything else right now, but I'm sure I will. Any questions so far? All right, moving right along. What plugins do you need?
Gravity Farms.
So a plugin is a piece of software that extends the functionality of WordPress. It makes WordPress do something that the original authors did not intend. For example, gravity forms. WordPress does not have a way to make a form, like a contact form. It just can't be done unless you're a developer. Well, if you pay $59 for gravity forms, they will give you a zip file, which you can upload to your website, and it makes a beautiful drag and drop forms thingy. Now, gravity forms is commercial only, but if you go to, in your site, plugins right here, oh look, I have several. I have one that I made myself. That's cool. I should show you. You go to Add New, and here are some suggestions. Akismet, anti-spam. If you're going to have a form, what's that?
Highly recommend it.
Yes. If you're going to have a form or do comments at all, get Akismet. You can get it for free if you say it's for personal use only. For commercial use, you can pay as little as $5. Jetpack comes with a ton of things, a wide variety of things. It can make your images better. It has its own little form thingy in it. It's like 100 things it does. BuddyPress is a plugin that can help you turn your site into a Facebook-like environment. So if you want Facebook, but you don't want Facebook, you can build your own thing and have people join up and chit-chat with each other and share pictures and cat videos and all that stuff. Health check and troubleshooting will go through your site and say, hey, you know what? Your comments table is particularly full of spam, and it's making your whole site run slow. If we just delete all your spam, it'll go a lot faster. Can we do that? You say, yes, click, and suddenly your site's faster. So I'm going to search for form, and you'll see all of these plugins can make forms for free. So why would you buy Gravity Forms? Well, because it's amazing, and there's support. So if you're going to be making some reasonably complex forms for an event, and you want people to sign up, and you're going to ask 87 questions, it's probably worth getting Gravity Forms.
Or like Contact Form 7, like I've used multiple times, or I've inherited sites that somebody has used them. However, the amount of times that you'll get a client that's just like, hey, there's an email from my website and I deleted it. How do I find it? Well, Contact Form 7 doesn't store copies of form entries on
That's
the
really
website.
annoying.
So if said client deletes his email, he's screwed.
I think Ninja Forms stores them in the dashboard. WP Forms does not. What's the other one? Wii Forms, I don't think that's either.
Something interesting to note about Contact Form 7, it is the most installed plugin in the world. 5 million plus active installations. It is probably the worst Forms plugin I've ever used. It's just super ubiquitous. It's old. Takayuki Miyoshi,
Thanks a lot, Takayuki.
who is not the only guy named that in the WordPress community, and the other guy gets a lot of support requests. He still maintains it. It's his thing. And there are a zillion add-ons for this thing. You can get one to record it to the database. You can get one to do, there's a ton. I don't recommend it. So,
Stand over there. Sir,
yes.
clarify why you never get rid of a Kismet.
Oh,
Make sure Kismet is always active.
yeah, because you will get spam forever and ever.
Amen.
How many were on that site when you started?
32,000.
Yeah, she acquired a site recently with 32,000 comments. There was
Spam, so I
Yeah, a mixture of good and bad. So she had to
Really?
filter it all. Yeah.
It's so bad. It's
Never-
still happening. It's
Never
so
get
bad.
rid of a Kismet. I think it comes pre-installed.
It does.
It does.
It
But double check
Never
that
turn
it's
it off.
installed
But not
and
active.
configured. It will install but not activate. You have to activate
Yeah,
it.
you gotta put it
So
in an API.
here's the popular tab. Oh, look, Contact Form 7. Yoast SEO is
That's a
probably the best SEO plugin around. WordPress is pretty good, has pretty good SEO as a site structure, but Yoast helps you apply good SEO stuff to individual posts and pages. So it helps you add a keyword. It makes a preview of what your post will look like on Google when it's found. So you can see what your description is going to be and all that stuff. WooCommerce helps you sell stuff online. You can build an online store and sell all your stuff. Elementor Page Builder. There are a variety of page builders. There's Beaver Builder, there's BoldGrid, there's Elementor. These make WordPress look a little bit more like Square or Wix with drag and drop and all the kind of fancy layout stuff.
Different drag and drop than like the Gutenberg or the core editor now is supposed to be drag and drop, but the page builder is taking a step forward.
Yep. Here's a nice simple one called Duplicate Post. It allows you to be looking at a post in the admin and say, I want a copy of that. Boop. And now there's two. Yep. It's surprisingly useful.
Does that do other post types too?
I don't know.
So if it doesn't, you can do a search for duplicate page,
Yes,
and whatever pops up works.
also. WordFence Security does all kinds of things to help your site be more secure. On and on and on. There are, let me go back to .org.
It's not WP Smush in there too.
Oh yeah,
Bad one.
plugins.
So how many plugins is ideal? I mean, if you get too many, doesn't it
That's
slow
a
your
great
site
question. No,
down? No?
but it's a very common belief. Oh, here we go. There are currently 55,755 plugins available. So if there's a thing you want to do, it's probably there. So her question was, is too many plugins bad? The key is the quality of the plugin and what it's doing. So you could have 100 simple plugins that are very fast and it won't cause any problems whatsoever. You can have one that is poorly written and it will make your site crumble. So it's really very much about quality. And some tasks are simply system heavy. There are some plugins that will help you resize all of your images. And that makes the server work hard. It's going to be slow. That's just the way it is.
For a while.
Just while that one's running. But there are other things. For example, if you were to get a plugin that interacted over an API to a service, maybe your bank, and your bank's API is horrible slow, then your site is going to be horrible slow as long as it's connected to your bank. So the rule of thumb is number doesn't matter. Quality is king. If your site is running ridiculously slow, and it's obviously not because you have giant images or something, you can go through and deactivate plugins one at a time without uninstalling them. Just turn them off. And if you turn one off and suddenly it's all fast, you know the one that was causing the problem. So let's install something
Go
here.
back to where you were. I'm sorry, small tangent.
Maybe?
Never mind. It's fine.
There we go.
Can you hit C all next to block enabled plugins? I just-
Yes.
Well, there are a few. Okay. Never mind. Thank you.
So truly, if you could imagine it, there's probably a plugin for it. I have some plugins on here. Let's see, there's my profile. Most of mine have very little use.
Shiny
author admin view archive link. So WordPress makes archives of blog posts for all kinds of things. So there's the main archive, which is all your posts, but then they'll do one for a category and one for a tag. Well, they also do it by author, so you can see all the posts by a single author. Well, in the admin area, when you're looking at a list of posts, it'll list the author, but there's no link there to go see all their posts. So I wrote this plugin to turn that word into a link, and now you can go view their posts. Digital Blasphemy widget. Digital Blasphemy is one guy who makes desktop wallpapers for a living. He's been doing it for 20 years now. They're gorgeous. I wanted a little widget on the side of my site which showed the latest one. And so I wrote it, and there it is. And less than 10 people in the world use it. Let's see. This one, 500 plus, this one gets the most use. Soliloquy is a great slider plugin to make images go slide across the top of your site. WordPress has a concept of featured image. So if you're making a post, you can say this image goes with this post. You don't put it in the post, you're associating them. Then the theme dictates what happens to that image. Sometimes it's a banner, sometimes it's on the side, sometimes who knows. The theme just gets to decide what happens to your featured image. So I made it so that you build a slider in Soliloquy. Then in your post you can say, I want this slider associated with this post. Then the theme can dictate, I'm going to put the slider at the top or at the bottom or in a sidebar or whatever. This didn't exist before I made it, and there it is. I did the same thing for featured menus. In WordPress, you can create menus, and then the theme dictates where they get placed. I wanted to be able to associate a single menu with a single post, because in the widget that renders menus on the sidebar, you can say, only show this menu on this post. And so maybe you have a post that is about your favorite hosting companies. You make a menu with the links, and you put that in the sidebar, and now you have the little speedy set of links to your favorite hosts. Just all kinds of stuff like that. As you can see, the vast majority of them might have less than 10. But it's still fun to make. So that's plugins. What we're looking at here is a profile of somebody on WordPress.org. You can see what my username on the WordPress Slack is. You can see my website. You can see my bio, interests, stuff like that, and where to find me on Twitter and LinkedIn. If you decide to become active in the WordPress community, I highly recommend you make a page here. It's free and easy.
It's required to have that like favorite themes or favorite plugins. How it finds it is your WordPress.org username. You actually have to put that in the dashboard to get it to link through.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a question.
Also, if you can demonstrate how.
That's not a question.
Can you please?
He never said it was a question.
Oh, that's true. I was speaking on.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you please show us how plugins are updated?
Oh, I don't know if I can show you how they're updated.
Not from the techie side, but from the user side.
Dashboard
I have a
updates.
plugin. When does this plugin become outdated? And how can I update it?
So WordPress periodically runs out to WordPress.org and checks the version numbers of what you have against what's out there. And if there's a new version, then you'll get a little blue dot here next to plugins. And also under dashboard updates, you'll see a little blue dot. And you can come in here and there'll be a link to update a single one, or you can click a whole bunch of them and update all of them. So right now we're looking at just the plugins page, but under the dashboard updates one, this does also themes and WordPress itself. So when there's a new version of WordPress itself, you can come in here and click to update. This was last checked on February 21 at 12:47 a.m. My time zone is set to UTC right now. So let's check again, see if there's a new version of WordPress. 5.3.3 is in beta 2 right now. So actually, in the next couple of days, there will be a new version. Any other questions so far?
I'm playing the role of Kate because those are questions I often receive. When they say, why does my site not work? It is broken. Well,
Yeah.
check your plugins. Are they all up to date? Well, they are not. Let me tell you that.
All right, so the next thing on the list is when to hire someone for help. And we should probably talk about cost and reasonableness and all that stuff. I recommend trying to do stuff yourself. If you get to the point where there's something you really want and you can't do it, it's worth hiring somebody. And it is, at the same time, both super simple and super hard to find somebody good. If you don't know anybody, they're hard to find. But if you are active in the WordPress community, you're coming to the meetups like this, you go to WordCamps, things like that, you start to meet people. And you're like, that person knows what they're doing. And even if they don't know how to do what you need or want to do what you need, they probably know somebody. I personally know probably 500 WordPress developers. I can find you somebody. So get on Slack and say, Topher, I need this thing. Is this reasonable? How much is this going to cost me? I say, you need to talk to Bob. And this is a horrible thing you're asking, so it's going to cost all your money. Costs range wildly, anywhere from $20 an hour to I charge $150 an hour. But I'm really fast, so it kind of works out. You can go to places like Upwork and Fiverr and find people to do stuff, and that is 50-50. You're going to get somebody awesome or terrible. So that's a little spooky. I recommend being part of this community, getting to know all of us, and we can help you find somebody to do what you need. And the types of things vary wildly. Maybe you have a theme you love, except you really hate the way the logo's on the left instead of the right. A number of people in this group could help you with that during the meetup for free. But maybe you need a whole new plugin created for an event. Maybe you want to turn your website into a mobile app. There's a application called App Presser, which takes a WordPress site and turns it into a native mobile app that works on both iPhone and Android. So you build your event site in WordPress and run it through App Presser, and there you go. Except App Presser is not super easy to use. You probably want to hire somebody. That sort of thing. So, backing all the way up, I recommend trying it yourself. If you can't do it, reach out to the community you have. This one, we're helpful. I believe there's a Kalamazoo meetup. There used to be a Muskegon meetup. There are some people in Lansing that meet up. You can go to meetup.org and find them. Yeah. So that's what I have. And the last thing is what to look for in a good contractor. Well, they should be bald.
Have a nice goatee.
Nice goatee. No, what to look for in a contractor? That's super hard. It depends on what you need. Sometimes it's worth hiring somebody new and inexperienced for $15 an hour because they get experience and a little cash and you're not hugely out of pocket. If your boss came to you and said, we have a $10,000 budget and I need this thing and I need it by May 2nd, then you want to go looking for a professional who could be a freelancer, or maybe you want to hire an agency. There are a lot of WordPress agencies This place does WordPress sites. This is DVS. I should mention them. DVS hosts us every month. They're very nice people. They're a marketing firm, but as part of that, they build websites. So you could come here and talk to Paul, and he would sit down with you. And this is a company. They do it professionally. They built this big room because the old room was half this size, and it was too small for all the people they have in their business meetings. So they will sit down and they'll make a plan, and they'll have milestones and strictly defined budget limits and all that stuff. So that's if this is a business thing, a job, then you probably want somebody who can dedicate all of their time, or an agency or something like that. My wife wants a tweet about A2 hosting. Girls, could you take a picture of us all, please? Does anybody mind if we get a picture of the group? All right.
Sit on the chair. Shut up. Yes, sit on the chair.
So again, I still recommend being part of a community like this. We can help you find somebody. Who in this room freelances? You're freelancing right now. Mm-hmm. Are you taking work?
I'm interested, yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
She's getting there. You're thinking about it. I take work occasionally. She freelances. You're not into development, though. You do more administrative work,
Does that
you would say? Maintenance? Well, yeah, you need to find the right person. If you need a developer, then she's not the one. But if you need maintenance, she is the one. I take the occasional job. I have a day job that I like, so I don't do a whole lot of side stuff. So just like that, there's several people in this room. And there are others that come who aren't here tonight. Does Brian ever take side work? Does he ever take side work he doesn't tell you about?
No, he doesn't do dev side work anymore.
Okay. Cool.
He doesn't.
So yeah, it's really hard to say what to look for in a good contractor. A group like this can help you understand what to look for. So if you say, I need to move my logo, then I would say to you, you need a front-end developer because they're going to use HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Whereas a back-end developer is going to use PHP to write an application to talk to your bank or something. Yeah, and the longer you do it, the more you mess with your website, the more you start to get a feel for who does what and how it works, things like that. What time is it here? I wasn't keeping track. Oh, I was supposed to quit 10 minutes ago. So, real quick, any questions?
You talk about development sandboxes other than the one that came with that.
Local? Yeah, so I really like local. Another one is desktop server. Very similar.
Local's pretty. That makes a difference.
Yeah, local is pretty. Desktop server has a free version and a pay version. Pay version comes with great support. Local is only free and comes with fair support. Both of them let you install WordPress right on your site or right on your laptop and mess with it. Local is owned by WP Engine and Flywheel, so it's tied specifically to those two hosts. Desktop server is completely independent, and they will help you connect it to any host.
Is MAMP still a thing?
MAMP is still a thing. That's Mac, Apache, PHP, MySQL. I don't really recommend it because there's so many great WordPress tools. If you're doing something other than WordPress, then it's really great.
At one point, that was like the only player.
Yeah. And there's a WAMP from Windows. And it came from LAMP for Linux.
You've become a Mac person.
No, I have not. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah?
My boss dictates that I use a Mac.
Oh, okay.
That does not make me one of them.
One of those people.
I'm a huge nerd and I like Linux. All right, I'm going to officially wrap this up and stop recording.